What does 91 mean? Is that a Mets hat? I don't know what it is. Don't
Okay,
shoot me.
there's probably not many people who would know this, but I will tell you this: I'm a huge hockey fan, and my team is the Islanders. So 91 is a legend in New York Islander history, Butch Goring. And he was actually an LA King for a while too. And he won 4 cups with the Islanders. So yeah, I just wanted to wear my 91 hat, do a little rep in here for the hockey team that's playing golf right now.
I love that. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. All right, for those that don't know, Stu, uh, very few, but Stu, can you tell us a little bit about what you currently do and what was your claim to fame
And my claim to fame, I
in
make
real estate?
homemade pasta every week.
But that's only your claim to fame with your family.
And anyone who could get my homemade pasta. But so I'll tell you a little bit about me. I tutor and train and educate people on how to pass a real estate exam and how to get their business started. So I am featured on the largest real estate exam prep YouTube channel, Prep Agent. We have over 300,000 subscribers. I'm one of the head instructors there. And I've been doing that for 4 to 5 years. I've been teaching for 15 years, though, training on a national level, really focusing on new agents and getting their business started in me because that's naturally my audience, right? Because that's the people that, they just passed the exam. So naturally, a lot of the questions that I get asked are by new or newer agents. So yeah, I'm always talking to them and answering the questions that they might not really have the answers for, like what is an MLS, things like that. Like the silly questions that you have to have answered at one time in your career or another that might seem silly and stupid, but questions that if you don't know, you don't know.
It's very true. Very true. All right. We're here specifically for newer agents. What topic do you want to start with? Because I think as a newer agent, I remember when I was brand new, I didn't know what I didn't know. I was just doing what I was being told to do, which was door knock, cold call. It was way back, like, back when George Washington started. A door knock, cold call, and farm, which included a whole bunch of those, and open houses, right? And then make sure to call or reach out to the people that are close to you. But there's so much stuff happening right now, like buyer agency, there's the NAR settlement. Where do we start with this for newer agents?
I think that we start simply with messaging around the NAR settlement because here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to make a couple statements and I want to get your thoughts on this as well. Because I've done a couple videos talking to new agents about what my thoughts are on the NAR settlements, but I think that it's causing a lot of fear, a lot of apprehension, and a lot of uncertainty coming into the industry because I think that it is a huge, huge change for some agents in the industry, and that's causing fear, apprehension, and uncertainty. But imagine someone who's on the outside and think about this. They're hearing a lot of messaging from the media, the traditional mainstream media that's putting out a lot of fear-based messaging around the industry as a whole. I'm sure you've seen some of the articles, some of the
Oh,
things
yeah.
going out there that in general, because you have to realize, we're in the industry, so we have people that we're exposed to that could kind of cut through some of the noise. But someone just coming into the industry or just thinking about going into the industry, all they might have heard was that mainstream media narrative. So I think my question for you and what I would like to get your thoughts are is what would your message to a newer agent or someone who has been maybe on the outside looking in and thinking about coming into the industry, what would your message to them be and how should they feel in regards to the potential changes in the climate of real estate
Hmm.
around the settlements right now?
Very good. I think they have the best ability to succeed, more so than the average agent who's been here for a while, who's been comfortable and not doing too much business. I think a brand new agent is going to blow it out of the water because I remember when I started, I didn't have preconceived beliefs about what was or wasn't possible. So, Tristan, you shouldn't door knock. You're gonna get yelled at. It doesn't work. I'm like, okay, but I've never tried it, so I'm gonna go do it. Tristan, you shouldn't cold call. It won't work. Everyone's gonna yell at you, and I'm like, okay, well, I get yelled at anyway, so let's go. Uh, and all of those things. So now it's like with the NAR thing, whenever it goes into play mid-August or something, we have the ability as brand new agents to say, this is how it's going to work from now on. I've never done it any other way. And if I have, it's only been one or two times. Now, let's get ahead because all the other agents are going to be, well, I don't know if it's not going to work. Oh my gosh, what are these changes? This is terrible. NAR sucks. It's like, look, I don't care if NAR sucks or not. You need to adjust, and the new agents are going to beat you if you don't adjust fast enough because they are adjusting. That's where they win, Stu.
I mean, and I just want to agree with you on that because I think that's really been my messaging is that I think where the fear and apprehension comes in, and tell me if this is a good summary. I think it really comes in because it's a change, because it's not what we were doing and what we have been doing. It's a change because I remember when I came into the industry, and I'll actually paint some context because I think we came into the industry at the same time. So I think that you might have experienced this, and I've been kind of alluding to this in that I came in 2003. I first got licensed, so we were about the same time, right?
Yep,
Okay,
exactly the same thing.
so what happens is this, and for those of you who weren't in the industry at that time, let me paint you a picture. The MLSs used to be in paper binders, and we used to be the gatekeepers of all the information. And you're laughing because you probably know where I'm going with this. The huge change that was happening in the industry was moving to a computer database. Some of the things that were being said was, oh my God, we are the gatekeepers of the information. They're just going to go to the internet and they're just going to go right to the, people who have the listings and they're going to go directly to them. And it sounds a lot of the sentiments and a lot of the change and a lot of the apprehension and fears that I feel like agents are going through right now are similar to that. And I kind of take myself back to being a new agent at that time. I remember I was just like, yeah, let me pop the floppy disk into the computer and let's fire up the MLS. And
Yeah.
now I'm even dating myself even more for those of you who don't know what a floppy disk is. But I really do think that it's the change that is the problem and not so much what the actual nuts and bolts of it are going to be.
Yeah, I agree, man. Here, I'll give you examples for those new agents listening in. When I jumped in, I had agents. So we were in transition the next 2, 3 years. We were introduced to social media. We were introduced to Zillow. We were introduced to DocuSign, right? We were introduced to the actual MLS, the growth of the MLS online, right? And so all of those things I adopted first. And what happened because I adopted them first, I started leading the way locally. This is not even nationally, locally. And then people would come up to me and ask me, hey, how do you do this? How are you doing this? So you, in essence, in the shift that you're creating, you become leaders in your local areas. And then you're going to get hate. When the market tanked, I was the first one in Ventura County to do a short sale because I was like, well, I guess I have to do short sales now. And the first short sale, I literally got ripped apart by every veteran agent. What is this? You're going to destroy the industry. Why are you preying on people? I'm like, what is this? So part of what you're going to do first, you're going to get hate for. But know that you're doing the right thing when everyone is just sitting there watching from the sidelines or hating on you. You've got it, guys. You've got this.
I love it. I love the positivity. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to sit down with you because I know that I've been spreading that message, but I think it's something else where, someone like yourself kind of saying the same message, it lends more credence to what I'm saying, but also too, it makes people realize that there is definitely opportunities that are going to come about. And one of the things that I have been doing is I've been recommending everyone pick up. I think that every real estate agent right now, so whether you're listening to this or you're a new agent, experienced agent, anything, you have to read Who Moved My Cheese. It has been a
Mm.
long time since I read it, but that's
Mm.
basically, yeah. So I know
Tough. It's good.
that is because I mean, if you really boil it down to it, that book really iterates what we're going through and what we're saying. And it does it in such a way that it makes you realize what we need to do as agents moving forward. But I think that's, I think that we could put a pin in the NAR settlement, and we could really kind of say that we've summarized it pretty well. And I think that agents, basically once we see what the actual, nuts and bolts of it are going to be in uh in August, we'll know what the move forward plan is. And I think new agents are going to adopt that really well. So someone in the chat said, what was the book? That's Who Moved My Cheese? So that is absolutely a phenomenal, phenomenal book. It's a phenomenal read, and it is basically about, I will give you the premise of the book really quick. It's basically a kind of like like an Aesop's fable kind of thing, and it's a story of where you're going to learn a lesson about things changing. It's basically all of these people kind of going into there's two people called Hem and Haw, and then the two mice are like
Right.
sniff and scratch or something like that, or something cute. And what happens is the cheese is in this one place every single time, and everyone always goes back to the cheese and they have a wonderful feast. And then one day the cheese is moved, and what happens is Hem and Haw sit there and hem and haw over what happened with the cheese and how should they go about it. And we'll just wait here and wait for the cheese to come back, when the two mice just simply go to the cheese and they go to find and sniff out the cheese. And it really is showing you kind of a dichotomy of where the contrast is with maybe newer agents being more like the mice and the maze, and just basically saying, hey, I don't know what it was like to have the cheese in this one location every single day. And then you sit there and you see some older agents that are like, why can't it be this way? And what's funny is that I see agents even saying in the chats and the comments, we're going to create this new interesting way that will have secret words in the MLS description, to show that we're giving a buyer agent thing. And that reminds me of Hem and Haw sitting there waiting for the cheese to come back to that same location instead of adopting to the new ways of doing business. So, yeah, I mean, I think that that's going to be a must read for every agent in the industry while we navigate the changes. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, kind of piggybacking off of the settlements, was buyer agency. I think that and I also want to talk about, I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to tell me your thoughts on this. So I find that a lot of new agents go to buyer agency because it's a low-hanging fruit. They could go to an open house, they could get, buyers, and they don't feel as intimidated with it, because in some states where you don't have buyer agency agreements as a requirement, you don't have to do a listing presentation, things like that. So my question to you as a veteran, new agents tend to lean towards buyer agency. What are some skills and what are some things that you think they should do to make them better listing agents? Because that's something that I would love to see more agents that are coming into the industry really go towards listings more so than buyers. So what are your thoughts on that?
I definitely think that's important, man. But I think when we're looking at listings, so everyone that's newer here, when you're looking at the opportunity for listings, you need to look at what your strengths are. So I'm going to ask you, Stuart, coming into the industry in 2003, what were your strengths? Like, what were you great at already coming in?
I think that one of the things that I was great at, and also a lot of things that I think newer agents, one of the reasons why they come into real estate is because they're people. I think that they can talk the talk, but I do think there is that fear of, basically the listing presentation, of going out there and doing some of the activities that are listing based. So I guess maybe, how do I turn that strength of mine, talking to people,
Yeah.
as something that would benefit me to focus more on listings?
Well, I'll tell you, Stuart, for you specifically, when people get to talk to you, you're so easy to like instant, dude. You have something that connects with people. So you're like, stop it. It's true. So if you at Stu, and let's just use him as an example, his strength is actually really talking to people. People like him. He's a people person. And I would say, Stu, what are the things that you can use that strength in real estate? Well, there are open houses, right? Do you think you could sit through an open house if I, as let's say I'm your mentor, if I can explain to you the process of that, right? Let's go find some open houses. We'll sit through them. What about Stu, since you're really good at talking to people, what about social media? Are you any good at social? Are you good on Facebook? No. You're good on TikTok? No. You're great at Instagram. Yeah, I'm not bad at this. Okay, let's go Instagram. Right. And then we go down the line of every opportunity that we currently have that we're already doing. Because I'm not going to go to you, Stu, if you're amazing at talking to people, and let's just say you suck at writing, which you don't, by the way, because that last piece was really good. But let's just say you're like, I just can't write. No, it's not me. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, don't worry about it. We're not going to do newsletters, right? We're not going to make you go that route. We're going to stick to this. And so I think that's where the challenge for most agents, they sit through their current brokerages or team, and they have to fit into a model that only works for those people. So I want you to look at and say, what am I great at? Where I have an opportunity to go get listings from. And I think that that
So,
changes it.
so let me ask you this, because I think that, and I just want a couple, because I'm asking you questions that I know some of the answers to, but I want to hear your thoughts too. And I want to see if, maybe you come up with something different than what I'm saying. So you said go to areas where, you could get listings from. So if you could give me one place that new agents could kind of go to as far as getting listings. Because, you said open houses, and I think a lot of them would look at open houses as an opportunity to tackle buyers, right? I mean, because that's a binary, right? Open house, door opens, buyers come in, right? And I know that there's opportunities there to kind of move them into sellers and things like that. But depending on what kind of house you're sitting at, would kind of dictate that, if it's a move up house or, a step down house or a house that would be right for the demographic of people coming in to have a home to sell.
Mhm.
So other than like an open house, like what are some things that they could do that you're finding right now with your team is super successful?
Well, the calls are going really well for us for rent by owners. If you're right now and you're saying, what are the biggest opportunities? Well, for us, we're noticing that people that bought 2, 3 years ago, they're like, I don't want to own that one or two properties. Or, you know what? I realize now that I can't live where I thought I needed to live. I need to go back to work in that property that I thought I could lease out. I can't. Those pretend landlords that hate it, there's such a big opportunity for us. So for rent by owners and the calls, Stu, they're so different than expireds or FISBOs. It's more like I'm calling you because I see it for lease, right? Either from RedX or from Zillow. Zillow has them all over the place for lease. Calling up, Stu, is your property on 123 Macy still for lease? You're like, yeah, it's still for lease. Great. Have you thought about also selling it? How's that going? And they're like, well, lease is okay. No, we haven't thought about selling it. Oh, you know what? We were thinking about it. It's all about getting the right script that fits you. But that's one for lease by for rent by owners. Number two, that's working really well for us is going through your phone and exporting all of these people with a simple app called MC Backup Pro. It's $3. MC Backup Pro. It puts them on an Excel sheet. And now you can go through the Excel sheet and you'll find, like, for me at least, a lot of them didn't have names. They're just phone numbers. I'm like, not using those because I'm not calling them. But the ones with names, I'm like, okay, let's go through them and start categorizing them, putting them into a CRM and reaching out to them, but reaching out to them specifically with things of value. And for me, if they're my friends and they know me, Stu, the one thing that's worked really well just over the last 2 months is a simple thing. And that I'm going to go through with you right now, Stu. I'm going to be like, Stu, I'm going to text you. Pretend, okay?
You're texting me. Got it.
Pretend text. Stu, listen, I've got a real estate question for you for a change. Smiley emoji face. Do you have 5 minutes? And then you know me, so you probably respond back, yeah, call me or later today, one of the two. Now I call you, I'm like, great, jump on the phone. Hey, Stu, it's Tristan. Listen, I've got a real estate question for you, different. But I'm calling all of my sphere. I'm a new agent. So all my sphere, people that are close to me, I've got a question for you, Stu. What do you think about everything that's going on with real estate right now? And then I just shut up and listen because Stu has an idea of what that means to him. It could be the 6% thing with NAR. It could be the market going down or softening, depending on where he's at, or skyrocketing. It could be whatever it is, real estate. And that one conversation, at least the last 2 months, has gotten us actual listings. Well, Tristan, I was thinking of moving. I'm not sure. Or, you know what, this or that. What do you think about the market? They're going to go to you and they're going to say, what do you think about the market? And that's your opportunity to connect right there.
And you know what I love about this is these are simple scripts. Everything that you just said, and I want any new agent, any agent listening to this, I want to point out a couple of things, okay? And I want to point this out that Tristan does really well. Tristan listens with intent, and he listens more than he talks, okay? So when Tristan asks that question, it allows that person to just open up. I know that he's probably had around that simple question a lot of conversations where here's the thing. A lot of agents, because they're people, they think their superpower is talking when it actually shouldn't be. It should be listening. So like when you go to a listing appointment or when you're doing a presentation, it's a situation where you want to think about, are they talking and are they telling me their story? Or am I asking them a question where my listening mode is I'm waiting to respond instead of really taking it in? Like, here's the thing, like Tristan does the head nod. He writes things down. I know when Tristan's in a webinar or he's in a meeting or he's in an interview, he is always literally looking at what is being said and actually taking it in and not thinking, all right, what's my response going to be to what I'm hearing? Because then you're not really listening. And I will tell you this, because I want to make one analogy, okay? Because this really kind of hits home with a lot of people when I start talking about the listening aspect of things, right? I want you to picture your best friend. Now, this best friend, as soon as this meeting ends, as soon as whatever you're doing right now in your world, you're going to be transported to a coffee shop with them, your best friend in the world. And now what I want you to think about is this. I want you to think about what you're going to talk about, what you're going to be saying, all that kind of stuff. How is that interaction going to go based on the history of, your interactions with them? And here's what I want you to take inventory of. How much are they actually talking and how much are they actually listening? And I will guarantee you that every person that you have all picked out, you have done more of the talking.
Dude, that's true. I've seen that.
It's
Good point.
So I mean, I think that what I'd love to do, and I'm going to put a little side note. I think that we should create a little PDF with simple scripts like that. Simple scripts. Just that question.
Let's put ours together. And then we'll put a landing page in the next one that we do. And then everyone could just come in and be like, oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. While I have this, Stu, can everyone in the chat let us know when you started in real estate? What was your first year in real estate? Just so that we kind of gauge where you're at. Stu, 2003. I'm 2003 as well. I was taking my test in 2003. I remember it clearly. I failed my first time, Stu, because I didn't have a Stu to help me. So
yeah, right. So I see a bunch of people in here. I see a bunch of people. Oh my gosh. So I see some people that recently started. Guess what? I want to ask everyone who has recently started, like in the last 5 years, did you use any of my YouTube videos? Did you use any Prep Agent or any of my tools? Let me know if you know. Like if you're like, hey, I know you, Zach Adams. Yes, I see that. Yeah, fantastic. So wonderful. So at least I'm not a stranger to a lot of you. And I hope to get more familiar with you too. But I don't want to take up too much more time. Tristan and anyone in the chat, if there's any questions that you want to ask last minute, feel free to type it in. Tristan, what are your thoughts?
I have a question for you, Stu. If I'm starting off or I want to relaunch my career, right, like in the next 6 months, so that I have an amazing 2024, the rest of it. What would you say I needed to do now? Where would my focus have to be?
1,000,000%. It's one thing. And it goes back to, and it's going to tie into everything we talked about, because I think that we didn't say it explicitly, but I'm going to say it right now. It's mindset.
Mm,
right? I mean, we were basically saying it without basically bashing everyone over the head. But when we
no.
talk about Who Moved My Cheese, what is that book really about? It's about mindset. It's about the mindset of Hem and Haw versus the mindset of Sniff and Scurry. And you know what? It's going to annoy the heck out of me. I'm going to get their names down eventually. I'm going to go back. Literally, that's going to be the first thing I do when I get off this call is I'm going to find the names of the mice because I know, you know what's funny is that I know the names of Hem and Haw because they stick in my brain, but it's the actions of Sniff and Scurry or whatever their names is. The two mice, it's their actions that speak louder than their names and everything else. I don't even know their names, but it's what they do. So I think that if you're relaunching, I think that it's mindset. It is always, always, always comes down to mindset because if you want to make a change, if you want to be a change in the industry, the only way that you could even start to do it is through mindset. Tristan, thank you for doing the research on that. It's Sniff and Scurry. And the two little people are Hem and Haw. And yeah, I really do think that's required reading right now. I've been recommending it at different boards that I've been speaking at because I think that, as I said, you know, I haven't really come out and said that mindset is the most important thing, but I think that that's also what differentiates the agents who are going to do well during the change versus the
Yeah.
ones that are going to struggle. I'm not going to say do bad, but I think struggle. I think that if you come into it with a different mindset, I mean, think about everything that we do on a daily basis. I just think about my, you know, my physical activity. Like I go to the gym, I go work out, I play hockey every week. Um, and one of the things, like yesterday, I played hockey. I'm pretty beat up right now. And one of the things was I went out onto the ice and my friends were saying to me, you know, how are you feeling? I said, listen, I said, I'm out on the ice. I'm able to lace my skates up, and that's more than so many people could say right now. And I'm like, I'm living the dream. I was like, I'm doing amazing. I'm like, I'm gonna hurt after this, but that's my mindset when I go out to do something. When I go to the gym, I don't care if I could lift, you know, all those heavy weights. I'm basically going onto my rower. I'm doing my thing. And if I can only do 10 minutes, I do 10 minutes. It's what I could do. And it's my mindset that helps drive me through that. And I think that's really everything that we're saying boils down to mindset.
That's so true, man. Quick question, side note.
Quick
Once
answer.
you're done playing hockey, what's your favorite go-to food after?
Oh, my favorite go-to food. I mean, I live on the East Coast, so I think I'm obligated by geography and by my Italian heritage to say pizza.
Oh, I
I
knew
mean,
you
I
were
think
gonna. Dude, I wrote it down. Pizza.
I mean it has to be pizza.
Oh,
And listen, I'm going to tell you a little fact about pizza. So you ready?
I love
And not a
pizza.
lot of people know this, okay? But the best pizza in the world, and you could all come fight me, is Connecticut pizza.
Really? Why? Thin, deep. What? Tell me.
Flavor. It's a flavor profile. It's, you know what it is? It is thin. It's those wood-fired ovens. It's those things that, so here's the thing. There are certain things that you can't get traditionally from like just a regular old Joe Schmo pizza place, you know,
Hmm.
and a lot of the ovens that they have in a lot of the places out in Connecticut are just like ancient ovens. Okay. It's just, so if you do go on to Goldbelly, go on to see Sally's a Pizza. I would order a pie from them and see what it's like. I think that it's pretty good for, you know, for what was I going to say, delivered for the frozen pizza. But pizza is the go-to food. It has to be because it's the goat. It hits everything.
Is it so the Connecticut pizza, Ruth says, what's up, Ruth? Yale has a good known
It's,
for
yeah,
it.
Yale is that New Haven,
What,
Connecticut. Yeah.
what's the cheese? What's the cheese? What's the why besides it being in a wood stove?
Mozzarella, mozzarella, and
Yeah.
it has almost like a burnt-ish kind of feel to it. So
Mm,
it really, it does.
interesting.
It's something unique, and it kind of is an elevated New York slice, which, you know, just simply based on, like I said, geography. I live at the Jersey Shore with my wife and son, so I have to say that as far as food. What about you? I have to ask you now.
Mine is pizza, man. I was gonna say pizza also. I love pizza. I love pizza a
I
lot.
mean, It's listen. So then you have to go on Goldbelly and you have to order a
Bunch,
phone.
Bunch says he's craving pizza. Listen, we're all craving pizza. Okay, we're all craving
Listen,
pizza.
listen. I mean, as I said, I think that look, I could talk to you for hours. You know that, but I just
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
say, thank you for spreading positivity, not only to the new agents, but everyone out there in the real estate industry. I think that everyone could also echo that, that Tristan's a huge voice for positivity. And I think that that's what we really need to emulate, and that's really a situation where I think that I'm really trying to make sure that new agents get exposed to people like Tristan that are spreading positivity and really kind of emulate that and be the change amongst all the noise and the hem and haws.
All right, everyone, go pick up the book. It's a really short book. I think you'll probably finish it in an afternoon. And if you're listening
It's an
audible,
afternoon read.
you'll get it done in an hour and a half, I think, or so. Very, very short, great book. Stu, thank you so much. Stu, where do we follow you, man? Your YouTube channel
Uh,
or
listen, if you type Stu Jacobson into YouTube, you can find me there. Also stujacobson.com. I have my new agent coaching that I'm launching with you over at ABT. So that's going to be awesome, amazing. So literally many different ways, but also I'm always in the lab coat group, so you can always tag me, ask me a question. Basically, I live, breathe, eat, and sleep on the internet. So I'm always available to be reached.
why we get along?
That's it. That's it. And yeah, like I said, tag me in a post or anything like that. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. You can always message me. Just keep in mind that if you message me on Facebook, it sometimes gets lost in the Facebook drag, you know. So you can always tag me in something like that. But yeah, basically if you go on to any of those sites, my YouTube channel, comment on a video, yeah, you could definitely find us all there. So yeah, thank you so much, Tristan, for having me.
Thanks, Stu. This was awesome, man. This is awesome. So excited to have you again. Thanks, everybody.